Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's Tech Talk time, and I'm trying a few new settings here, so if stuff looks weird, I apologize. But this week we did a ton of upgrades to things just to get ready for kind of the new update season. So we did got a new screen, which is a 1440p screen. Also upgraded what you guys see when it comes to different stuff. So you should be seeing like 4K stuff now on the YouTube channel. Twigged. That's not a word. Tweaked. Tweaked. There you go. Tweaked with the microphone settings. So stuff should be a little bit, stuff should be a little bit more clearer, and everything should look like a little bit nicer. So just to kind of do all that stuff, got like the two like PC stuff sorted out. Like everything hopefully now will be working at 100 at full gas. Full gas. So that's the idea, right? So yeah, simple as that. We're gonna do the tech talk today. That means going through the previous comments on the last tech talk, and if you have specifically any ones that you want to kind of go through or do it, obviously you can stick them in the chat and we can go through, such as what do you think are the chances of a Polish subtree? And the chances are pretty high, since there isn't really a chance of anything going ahead with a standard Polish independent tree. So simple as that. What's a good ammo to use? Depends on the vehicle. Most of the time, AP with HE filler will work at a lot of it, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, we're going to be doing the Operation Grenade, because I'll catch a grenade for you, and also our dailies and specials, so that's the plan while we go around. Now, let's have a look at the comments. We have Koam-chan, as always, with the timestamps. Very, very kind of him to do so. He's been fleecing me for a bunch of for Hearts of Iron 4 DLCs. So that's been the pick when it comes to all of this stuff for the last few weeks. So good old Iron, good old Hearts of Iron 4 DLCs, which is nice. Didn't realize how many there were, but then again, I suppose that's the type of game that is, right? Like there's just a ton of different stuff going on. But the other thing as well is I was thinking about Iron Harvest the other day in the World Map mode. I really need to play that again. It should be quite fun. We'll probably do it next week. But thank you as always to Koam-chan. Always kind of him to do it. Then we have Kakaprut. Hi Tech. Hi. What I'd really like about the new cycle of events is that you have a list of 12 vehicles from the start of the year. For each event, you gain points. With those points, you can pick the vehicle you want in no particular order. That would let you organize yourself through the year with prioritized targets. Oh, so basically you could like save up points for like specific ones through the year. That's fair. I mean, if they had it all like sorted out like that, like if they already knew everything and everything was ready at the start of the year, then sure. Like I don't think that would be a bad idea. I think generally that would be okay. The issue is, of course, one of the things about like marketing and stuff is timing of things, right? So timing is very important in marketing, especially if you have a product which has been out for ages. So the idea at the start of the year kind of being like, okay, so this is everything that's coming the whole year, it's probably not going to go down well with the whole marketing department, because it doesn't really give you a good look at what's kind of going on in the setup. So for me, that would be one of the things to think about, which I feel like they wouldn't really be too happy with. But generally, it would be cool to have a system like that. Maybe what they could do is a separate one. So maybe what they could do instead is they could have a system where at the start of next year, they give you the opportunity to dump your excess points, whenever you got any excess points, into other things. So you could kind of dump them into stuff such as... a previous event vehicle or old vehicles or something like that. So instead of it just being about, getting the good old event vehicles, you could then kind of bank it up and use it for something else in the future. Maybe even just like decals and decorations, or maybe, you know, stuff on the market, all these different things. So there's plenty of stuff that could be around. Hey, Alan Speedy, nice to see you. The KV1E is very good, but also waiting for sales is probably better to do if you have a limited amount of GE. Always premium time is best, right? Simple as. But no, I like the idea of kind of taking the system that we have and improving it a little bit. Obviously, in terms of, you know, obviously in terms of the game and everything like that, there's a lot going on in it right now and a lot of things to kind of focus on. So adding systems on top of previous systems is always going to be nicer than adding a completely new system to focus on, right? So yeah, I'm definitely in favor of the second one there. Oh, sorry, in favor of like adding on to previous systems, and I think that's what that would do. So yeah, I'd be down for that. I think that would be quite nice. Not, as I said, not sure about like telling everybody what's coming, because then you, as I said, you kind of killed the hype. And also at the same time, by doing that, you make it so, you know, people already have marked out like what they're going to go for and what not that they're going to go for, and that can lead to issues in the future with, you know, obviously players turning up at certain times and not turning up at other ones, which, you know, the whole point of this event cycle is to try and keep people playing and, you know, keep going forward. So we have Yuho. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that fuel sliders will come available with an existing min-max ranges and not lower. Yeah, I think that too. And I think that's gonna suck for, you know, the vehicles that kind of need the fix. Like the biggest thing with the fuel slider stuff, obviously it's nice to see, especially since there's, you know, there's gonna be kind of a meta game around how much fuel that you take, especially in stuff like jets. But the vehicles that really need help with that is the bombers, man. There's so many bombers which straight up, they're just sat there on mountains of fuel, and you're so heavy, and you just can't even climb at all. You're just stuck there, and you just end up being in a very negative place while playing. So for me, I think it would be super important to try and change that, to make it so, you know, you can actually do something with them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the fuel sliders would just go in the min-max thing. As I said, I wish they didn't. I wish it would be slightly better, but yeah, what you gonna do? Who knows? Then you have TK. Let's see. TK says, should the M24 Chaffee be allowed to have dual driving capability like it had in real life? The purpose of this mechanic was installed for emergency situations so the co-driver could get the tank out of danger in case the driver was injured or killed. So the machine gunner on like the right hand side of the tank, he had like a extra set of pedals. Like, is that the idea? Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Like, we have commander controls, and you know, that type of mechanic, I don't think is like busted, or I don't think it would break the game or anything like that. Like, I'd be fine with it. I think that'd be a nice little mechanic actually. You know, it just has to be automatic. They don't have to add anything to it or do anything crazy. Just add the commander control mechanic to the one to. And make it similar to how the other one works. Like the driver's thing. So it takes a little bit of time, you know, probably based on like agility or whatever, to be able to get away from it, and then just go from there. Like, why not? It sounds completely fine to me. I like the idea. I think it's good. I don't know how many vehicles have that type of mechanic. I'm guessing a lot of American World War II vehicles probably do, just because of the setup that they have. Maybe British, not sure. But even if it's just for one vehicle, it's basically just making, you know, as I said, just taking a mechanic that already exists and just moving it to a different thing. Like, it shouldn't be too hard to do. Then we have Elverman. What's the most overpowered ground vehicle that can be enjoyed in a brain-dead way when tired? I'm currently enjoying the magnificent Tog, but looking for other candidates. The KV1s are always super easy to play. KV1B, KV1E, those are the ones which always kind of come out. Early T-34s are very brain-dead a lot of the time, and very easy to play. Stuff such as, let's think. Usually high-tier stuff is not the way to go, so probably won't go for high-tier stuff. I would say, yeah, like T-34s, BTs, like they're quite easy. Early scouts, like the Stuarts are so easy to play, man. Like it's kind of dumb how easy they are to play. And then, yeah, that's probably what I'll go for. So KV-1B, KV-1E, yeah, Panzer IVs with the long 75, because they down BR'd them so many times that they're in like a really good position now. And the Stuarts are just, you know, you run around your scout, you use the stabilized gun, you plink, and you just have a fun time. I've always, whenever they had those like decals to get like first places with America or, you know, stuff like that, I always would use that like 2-7 American lineup. Or I think it's like it used to be 2-3, but it's basically the 3 Stuarts, and then you had like the M4 105 that you could run with it, and a bunch of other things too. Like it was really fun and really, really easy to play. Because even if you go on a full up tier, I mean, well, all you have to do is you just gotta scout, right? Like you just scout, and that's really about it. So I don't know if they're like overpowered in that sense. I think Gaijin have done a really good job with making a lot of things not as good as they used to be. With like the BR decompression and also just adding more stuff in, right? But there are still vehicles which is still pretty good. Like as I said, the KV1s will always be fun. When you think about the KV1B and KV1E, think about how many vehicles have been like moved around in those BRs, and think about the fact that they have just stayed still, which is just nuts. Like, it's so many of the changes were made to that BR range because of those damn vehicles. Like, it was absolutely crazy. But yeah, hopefully in the future they can finally get some justice, you know, and finally go up. And we have special Donkey, or I think just Donkey. Hey TEC, hope all as well. Yeah, everything's good. Like, workouts have been going great. Sorting out the new stuff, like sorting out the new setup and sorting out like how everything like that works has actually been a really fun experience. I've had a really good time. Kind of, how do we have a nuke? Holy. Sorting out the new like setups and also just kind of experiencing the game in a different way has been really cool. Like War Thunder now for me it looks beautiful, you know. Like it's a completely beautiful game. It looks really nice. You know, a lot of the time it's been really fun to play, but now with like a higher frame rate and also a more stable like PC and also doing everything else has really been super cool. And kind of, it's not really like a new lease of life because I was never like tired of War Thunder, but it's just really nice to have like it look different and look kind of cool, right? It's pretty nice. Hey, Jaron. What do you say to people who say dogs don't really love you? They love you because you feed them. I mean, what is there to say? Like... like, there's more to emotions than food. Like, I don't know. There's always going to be a weird subservient relationship, but at the same time, like, in conversations, you don't always need to have them with people, right? Like it's like the PETA thing, right? When You get somebody who, you know, works at PETA or, you know, is on their social media stuff, and they're just banging on about, don't eat the chicken, you know, the chicken would be great. And it's like, well, okay, I'm going to eat the chicken, though. Like, sometimes you don't need to do anything with it. You can just kind of sit there and, you know, just let them spout off and literally just do, like, the Chad move, right? Just like, okay, thank you, bye. It's, you know, like, if people believe that about dogs, like, they just never had a dog. So it's just an experience thing. Oh, good. Yeah, it is pretty nuts, Teddy, man. Like, that whole thing is so weird to me. And it will never change, you know. It's just a bit crazy. But, you know, c'est la vie. Unfortunately, stuff is riddled nowadays with that. My question is, what 3 things would you add or remove from War Thunder? Can be anything from the smallest of things. I would, let's see. I think when thinking about the game, there's a lot of things that obviously I would try and like change, but it's mainly just like what vehicles are available to people and stuff like that. It's nothing like too crazy. I would probably make it so it was easier to research through lines of tech trees, so I'd remove a lot of the barriers which are there. So instead of all like the linkages, for example, I'd probably remove a lot of the linkages from that stuff. Because, as I said, it's not very fun, right? Like you turn up and you get to like a new rank, and then it's just you just, if you didn't research a bunch of the stuff before it, then you can't get access to it. Like, that kind of sucks. I would probably add more kind of decal slots and things like that, and also just more ways of, you know, customizing profiles and having a bit of fun with that stuff. And removal wise, I don't know how much removal stuff I would probably do. I would definitely, removal wise, I would actually just add in an option, because I feel like this option doesn't exist right now, at least in the development of War Thunder. One of the things that annoys me about War Thunder is whenever something is added to something, it is never removed. So let's say they do like a balancing factor where they decide to add around to a vehicle while also raising its BR. The classic example is the IPM one, right? That happened a few years ago, but there's been many of them. Like stuff like, you know, a bunch of like vehicles getting crazy missiles, for example, and not really having a great platform for them. So basically, you're just left as this kind of crazy missile platform with not a lot really going for you apart from the missiles themselves. So heavily reliant on certain modifications compared to, you know, not is that. So I would give the ability to be able to remove certain stuff if they feel like it's too overpowered. So instead of just adding power to things, instead removing things from certain vehicles that make them like overpowered. Okay. Obviously, I'd add back in all of the removed vehicles. I think in general there's no reason for them to be gone now. Especially like, so some of them have been away from the game for 10 years now. And I'm not talking about like event vehicles. I'm talking about like just ones that were just removed for no reason. So, like, yeah, I would add in a system to be able to get those ones. Because even like, you could just call it War Thunder like Nostalgia, or like the War Thunder History event, right? And oh my, and all you have to do is you just have to bring one of them back every once in a while, and you can just straight up, what's the word? Like, just have a little thing where you grind out, you know, an old vehicle. Even if they increase, like, its RP by, you know, twice or 3 or 4 times. It doesn't matter. Just having it be available is what's important at the end of the day. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's just too many vehicles now which are just not available to people. And that sucks. So that's probably something that I would focus on the most. Just making as much of the old stuff available to people as possible in at least some form. You know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. But yeah. Just have at least a way to attain it, even if that way to attain it is absolutely insane. Wouldn't it be better to choose the event vehicles to historic ones, but no coupon? What do you mean? There we go. But yeah, so just doing stuff like that I think would be nice. Like, I'd be down for it. Alright, let's see. Just need to shoot this guy. But no, the removal wise, you know, I don't. There really isn't a lot I would remove. Like, I would add in a lot more systems which promoted, you know, team play, bit of voice action, you know, have a bit of fun with that. I think that would be enjoyable. But yeah. So you can get the older vehicles, but you don't get to sell it? Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, like, that would be fine. Yeah, they don't have to, I mean, there's a bunch of event vehicles they do now that aren't coupon vehicles, so yeah, they could do that. But I think overall, at least for me, yeah, I'm not even talking about like old event vehicles, because they do bring some of those back, like not always. I mean like ones which are just removed from tech trees, like because they're either seen as not useful or they were seen as like something which was going to be like pushed in something else, so there wasn't like really a point in them being there. So stuff like the German Spavieras, right, or the German Italian stuff, the year twos, the SBs, you know, things like that. Things that just were never updated and they were just left there to die. Why? No idea. They just, yeah, they were just chosen to die. I would love to know why that's the case. I've heard all types of theories, but that would be something to chat to you know, the creators about. I've never really brought it up before with them, so maybe that's something that I can do in the future. We get old event vehicle coupons with the prestige system. Yeah. But then the thing about prestige systems is usually people who are prestige played those old things as well, right? Yeah, I mean, voice chat I think would be funny, but also it would be, you know, useful. And once again, you could always have the option just to turn it off. Like, have it off by default, and if you want to turn it on, turn it on. I think that's the way that you always do those types of things. Like, you don't have to do it, so God damn it. You don't have to do it, so a bunch of different things. You know, you don't have to do it, so you like go into a game and you just get screamed at by a child. Like, you know. But yeah, there's a few things to mingle over, to think about. Then we have Insane Robert. Hello, Tech. This comment's a bit off topic from War Thunder. That's all good. Regarding the frame rate lock on the Saboteur game, I had a similar experience with the first Mafia game. published by 2K, I believe in the early 2000s, where there was a mission in the extended gameplay mode. I think it was called Freeride Extreme or something similar. If you actually had a potato PC, the game was easier. But if you used a new powerful one, the mission became unplayable. You actually had to download a mod to frame lock your game. It also had a notorious racing game due to its difficulty, since the AI was brutal and unforgiving, and the cars were very difficult to handle. Which, to be fair, they offered you a genuine 1920s, 30s racing experience, that's true. They also released a remake of the first game, which is amazingly well done, from a cinematic and story depth angle, but not if you want to fool around the game world like in GTA. Recommend it if you didn't play it already. They also have amazing models of 20s, 30s cars and guns, but the infamous Tommy gun, the 1911 Colt, and Smith & Wesson revolvers. It is on the list. The Mafia games, well, not like the list for this year, but the future list. The Mafia games are there. Because that's one of those series that kind of just died out. The last game came out, and I saw that people didn't really enjoy it as much. But it definitely feels like my type of game to go through, right? And LA Noire is also another one which, I'll be playing in the future. That is on the list to actually play through. Talking about other funny experiences, so one of the ones, when Enlisted started, its popularity gain at the start of it, there was a lot of people talking about the squadron cover system and how they should copy it from Band of Brothers. Now, I actually played through Band of Brothers a few times. One of them, like all of the games, and one of the most annoying things to me was with that series, it ended not really on a cliffhanger, but it ended with they were going to create another game. But then it was decided for some reason that instead of doing a standard game, which they'd done in the past, they were gonna do some weird 4-player co-op arcadey World War II shoot 'em up whatever game it was. It just seemed awful at the time, right? And so what ended up happening with it was the Brothers in Arms series just died out. Even though it was really fun and really enjoyable, it just didn't really get anywhere. And the last game ends with them finishing, I think it was Market Garden, and the guy's going towards what's the word? Going towards Baston, with the Ardennes offensive. So the idea is that the next game would have been in there, but it just never happened. And, you had all of these different Brothers in Arms games, and they were really fun. If you can pick them up cheap, and, they still run well, I highly recommend them. They're good story games, good characters, all that stuff. If you like World War II stuff, you like it. But they had, a cover system in it, where you could, tell your guys to, go to specific places, right? And, kind of attack different things. And that's awesome, And at the same time, you could shoot people and have a bit of fun with it. And when Enlisted came out, there was a lot of people who were saying, "Oh, well, this system is really cool. We should have the Brothers in Arms system in Enlisted, right?" And there was a dev who played Enlisted, who developed Brothers in Arms, and he was like, "Nah, you don't want this." And everyone was like, "Well, why? Your cover system was really cool." And he's like, "Well." Because the way that we created the system, we completely cheated in it. The guys could only go to predetermined spots. So even if you told them to go somewhere, they would just go to the place where we said that they had to go to. And then also at the same time, the damage system in Brothers in Arms was based on time. So it wasn't even about accuracy of enemies. So if you were out of cover for a specific amount of time, then you actually got killed. And, so did your AI allies. So it was actually more about timing of moving things around instead of, an actual fully fledged system, which I thought was really interesting. Because of course, that's nuts to think about, the way that it was kind of set up, right? So, I've been doing a lot of reading about game development recently, not because I'm interested in getting into it, but I think it's really cool to read about, because it's something that, at least for me, I'm not I'm not hugely well versed in. I'm well versed in kind of like the marketing side of it, the advertisement side of it. Like the last few years, I've been really focusing on that. But the actual game development side of it is really interesting to see, and really interesting to read about. Evening, Jonathan. Nice to see you. And so yeah, there's a ton of weird stories from like those types of years to try and like get stuff sorted or to be able to get it working, right? Like I still remember playing Medal of Honor Frontline, and there was like a submarine mission and getting stuck on that submarine mission and then just leaving that mission for like I don't know how many years, like 2 years, maybe a year, 2 years, and then just trying it again and being able to do it first time. It's it's one of those weird things that happens, you know. It's a crazy. It's really cool. Like looking back at like experiences like that, I'm really happy the way that I'm like doing gaming now. Where we obviously play quite a lot of War Thunder, but I'm also playing a lot of other stuff as well, just to kind of give perspective and things. Like we just finished the main campaign on Humans Fall Flat. What a fantastic co-op game, you know. Just a simple idea, and not having full control of a character and being able to manipulate it in certain ways and just creating levels around it. And they're making a second one because the first one was so successful. And recently played Anno 1404, I think, again, which once again just a very in-depth game but incredibly fun to play. And Control as well is another one that we did, which I need to play the DLCs on at some point. Gonna be Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks. It's nice playing all of these different things and just getting a ton of different perspectives about stuff. Like it makes me really happy that I'm in a position where I can do that now. And yeah, it really this year so far. So in the first few months of the year, it's always like a setup time. Like it's always a time to get things going and to get things ready. And after these first 2 months, I feel very much set up for the rest of the year and feel very positive. So I'm feeling great, feeling good to go forward with and do everything we've been doing. It's been nice. Then we have Gian Marco Marzo. Hey Tech, hope you're doing well. Alive and kicking, doing good. I think what Gaijin meant when they said they would add new nations was not necessarily new independent tech trees. I think they were simply leaving their options open. I mean, after all, since they did that Q&A, we did have a new nation come to the game, Hungary and Lithuania. But maybe this is just copium on my part and new tech trees are inevitable. I agree with you. I honestly think they were just saying, no, new tech trees are going to come, because like straight afterwards you got expansion of India, right? The Bishmar, and now the Jaguar IS and things like that. And then you have a bunch of vehicles which have, independent crew voices and things. So they're obviously working pretty hard on, trying to get all of those things moving. Because, so put it like this. If you're going to do a huge investment into having, a full set of crew voices, you're not just doing it for one vehicle, right? That's a hell of an investment for one vehicle. So I would not be surprised if there was a bunch of other vehicles in the pipeline for those things. And also at the same time, we have a bunch of crew lines which aren't really being used by a lot of stuff. So that's also, something to look at, something to think about, and all those good things. So yeah, they're obviously going to keep adding in different nations' vehicles. But yeah, the question is, how do they add them in? And I think overall, if they just continue with the way that they've been doing it, it's fine. The leak was funny. I don't know if you guys saw the leak or not, but basically the leak was there's gonna be a Hungarian air tech tree for Italy. So there you go. That was the that was the thing that was gonna happen, which was kind of cool. Where the hell is my team? They kind of just disappeared. So yeah, hey Sneaky, nice to see you. Also Tech, you recently mentioned early interviews with Guardian founders that are very informative. as to their long-term vision for the game. I've only been playing since 2022, so I've missed a lot of the early history of the game. So if you ever consider doing a video series on War Thunder history for those who were not there at the time, so to speak, or even a single video, I'll be all over that. Already browse your archive to watch videos from past years. It's super informative. Yeah, I mean, we could definitely do that. I have some of them. One of the ones which is really annoying, I'm guessing Dog still has it. I need to find my copy of it. But there was like a radio interview they did, and it's all in Russian. And it's like 2 hours, and it's like going through all of their shit. Like, okay, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going on. But yeah, I think we could do like, what do you think? Like a War Thunder nostalgia series? Or a War Thunder history series? You know, look what happened here, or look at this interview here. We could even look at some of their old videos where they actually went around Kubinka, and, you know, kind of, that's when they got a lot of the information on the tanks that they were going to put into the game, but also when they actually restored the T-44 that was over there, which has been left to rot, because, just say la vie, I suppose. But yeah, there's a bunch of different stuff, you know. Yeah, I'm testing a bunch of new options on the stream and stuff, Sneaky. But on your end, it should look good. I think it's all sorted now. But yeah, so we could do that. Like, yeah, we could do it on Twitch, like maybe on Sundays or something. Like I could make like a video out of it, because it's like timeless content, right? It's like, you know, reviewing, I don't even know, like, reviewing Gaijin interview from 2011, right? Or maybe we could have a look at some of the old trailers and, you know, talk about the time, like, because they did so many trailers. Like, the cinematic trailers in War Thunder, whoo, boy, victory is ours, let's go. We're all that B-17 gunner, you know? Oh, I killed 2 of them together. Oh, God. But yeah, what a time to be alive, you know. Fighting the good fight, Teddy. Maybe a dumb question, but do you think they'll ever add more modern bombers to War Thunder? The Lancer, the Spirit, the Vulcan? Yeah, they will. The only question is when, really. But yeah, we can do stuff like that. Like, if you guys would be interested in it, you know, and for me, I enjoy the history of War Thunder, right? Like, you know, like I think from a game perspective, and just from like a project perspective, just think about, like, you know, having a look at all of these different things, you know. Maybe like a War Thunder year 2014 review, like going through all the stuff done in a certain time span. Yeah, we could do that. That's not a bad idea. Those videos would be insanely long, though, but we could do that. That'd be fun. Yeah, because that would also, like, we could do that, and then also the other one, which is the, you know, kind of the video review stuff. The evolution of War Thunder stuff, so the issue with doing, like, evolutions of things is having footage of all of those things. Like, even though, like, I've been doing the YouTube stuff for a long time, a lot of the footage that I have in the old days is very poor. So, as long as people would be okay with, you know, obviously pretty weak footage from those areas, but I suppose that kind of shows, like, the time. Like, one of the things I'm really annoyed about that I don't really have a lot of footage of is the Walker event, right? Because back in the day, you know, there wasn't, like, NVIDIA highlights, there wasn't like shadow play, you know, no GeForce experience. It was all just that guy hit me there. It was all just, you know, simple hit the button on fraps I used for the longest time, or hit the button on OBS and then kind of go from there. Hey DJ Peke, nice to see you. Yeah, we could definitely do like a year in review, like have a look at the major updates. Have a look at what they added to the game, what they broke, what they fixed. Got a single clip from 2013 saved? Well, I have a lot of my old screenshots, that's the thing. Like, I have screenshots from, like, 2013-14. I mean, archiving my like YouTube channel would just be I have a metric ton of videos from like the last decade, all archived and stuff. But archiving the whole damn thing would just be so much. I don't even know how many terabytes it would be. Like it's crazy. But yeah, we can look at those and have a bit of fun with it. Oh, the post, yeah, fair. Yeah, it's archiving time. Make sure to get an archive of that one. Right, I'll write down those two things. So let's say because we could do like one a week, you know? War Thunder, nostalgia, video reviews. Like it could be a Sunday thing, right? There's not a lot happens on Sundays. And also War Thunder, nostalgia, year in review. Year in reviews. Like that sounds good. Like I'm down for that. That'd be nice. Good idea. I like it. So we have Gulag Kulak. Any ideas on how to fix sim events? I keep going back to Ground Sim because when it works, it's an absolutely magical experience. But most of the time, it's a complete shit show of team killing and using the other side's captured vehicles. Got to admit, I've done that myself. Took the Italian Sherman, put American flags on it, and farmed many kills from very confused enemies. A long time ago, we had air events that tried to mimic historical battles by having one map, two countries, and a very limited selection of vehicles. Having ground sim events like that would be a huge step in the right direction, in my opinion. I mean, they used to do that stuff for ground. No one played it, which is why you have the current system now. You know, it's also why you don't have like the BR system as much in sim as well, because there's just not enough of a player base. The reason why ground sim is in the place that it is because you know there just isn't enough people there to kind of push that forward with, right? Like it's kind of crazy. I know a YouTuber. His name is Sam, and he has 4 terabyte HD of all his videos. Well, for me, just for like highlights, so not even just video stuff. So for just like gameplay stuff, I have 45 terabytes nowadays, which is just crazy. Videos, I don't even know. Like I'd have to, as I said, I don't even know how I would download them at that point. Like I'd have to do it in like batches. Because there is like a way of downloading all your stuff on YouTube. I just don't know how it works. But yeah, I mean, they could do that with Sim. They could remove those types of vehicles. I mean, the issue with Sim, as always, is the same as a lot of gaming. Like it's people use it to abuse systems. You know, during the aviation event now, you're gonna see that a lot. Like you're gonna see people abusing air sim to get the marks really quickly and to also do the coupon stuff. Like it's just how it goes. Like I don't know how else to put it. It's why I've never really been hugely interested in simulator. Like even the guys who say that they don't like it happening, they still queue up with all their mates, like in literally on like streams and stuff like that, like breaking all the systems and stuff. So just how it goes. Like I don't know. I wish I as usual. I wish we could all live in a world where humans didn't just have this weird proclivity to just either break things or you know try and make it so things aren't or are more in their favor as other things. Like I would love to be in there so we could all live in a fair and just society, but it don't exist because there's always an asshole. So don't know. Like it honestly, it is literally just that. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like a lot of the reasons why stuff like simulator and other things end up like they do is because of the fact that people just try and game all sorts of systems. Like one of the great examples of this was the reward system, right? So I noticed the other day like my G went up, and it's because somebody used like one of my friend codes from back in the day. So they must have got to like a pretty high level with it, which is kind of cool. But the issue with these things, like the issue with, you know, War Thunder and the refer a friend things, is people were completely gaming the system by using them. So what they would do is they would have one account, and then they would create a metric ton of alt accounts, use stuff like B18s and T18s for Sweden, which were like rank 3 and 4, way too high rank compared to their BR, and then they would just use them to grind through into like rank 5, and then you got G on that first account, and then you just do it with another account, and then you do it with another account, and then you do it with another account, and you just keep doing it, and that's how people masked like stuff like GE. And then they removed this feature. There was a bunch of people like, well, why'd you do that? Like that, I mean, don't you want people to incentivize like friends playing the game? It's like, well, yeah, because people were abusing it like to all hell. Like that, and once stuff like that gets out, and once stuff like that becomes the norm, then the whole system breaks, right? So you got to change the system. Same with like doing like the training maps and things like that. Like they removed the ability to get like GE from them, and instead they made it so you got like decals. And it's the same reason, just people were straight up abusing it. It sucks. People are shit. Like, and with a game like War Thunder, you gotta understand that, you know, you, because of the game, you are in a place where there is a bunch of different types of people from a bunch of different regions in the world who all see things very, very differently. So, unfortunately, you have to make blanket rules for all these people, and that leads to kind of negative effects. I'd like Sim to be in a more kind of standardized place compared to everything else, but as always, people just kept abusing the systems. So if you can somehow work out how to get people to stop abusing systems, then we can actually start having a conversation about these things. It's kind of like the whole, you know, thing that we've discussed previously with a lot of you know, why do people one death leave, right? Like there was all of these narratives about why people left after one death, you know, whether it was like economy, whether it was, you know, bad teammates, whatever it was, right? A lot of them were about economic factors, which it just never was. And finally, we're getting to a stage, slowly but surely, where we can actually have an honest conversation about these things. And the honest conversation says, at the end of the day, that the reason why people do this is for a variety of reasons. Whether they don't like a map, whether they're grinding out a specific vehicle, whether they just don't want to play anything else, and they just want to play one thing. And in order to actually take into account all of those factors and try and stop it from happening, you have to limit player choice. And that's what they had to do in Simulator. And that's why people don't like it as much. So, fun, right? Not a great time. With me, what I'd do is I'd do what they did for a long time in Sim, just use it as a testing ground. See what happens, do silly things, and then screw about with it, right? That to me is fun. Oh god. That's a hill. Well, that was very poor. So yeah, like, that's how I would at least, you know, have a look at it. I, one Def Lever, can confirm that it was due to the economy. I do not at all just play Arabi. I'm a proud one Def Lever. I only play Arabi. Yeah, like, why not go around and try a bunch of different stuff in Sim, see what happens, and then, you know. I'm sure after this event, you know, we'll have to see what goes on. Then we have Jerry. I wish Gaijin would give us an option to go back to older things. For example, I don't like the new progress bar for the battle mode, and prefer the older one. Also, have you played the Object 292 yet? I would like to hear your opinion on it. I wasn't able to play the 292, because we got busy playing a bunch of other stuff, unfortunately. The vehicle seems fine, it's not overpowered, it's just got a nice gun, and that's pretty much it. Like, you're still limited by all the standard Soviet things, and they don't even give you any of the additional factors. So for me, when I look at something like, you know, the 292, yeah, it's going to be annoying to face sometimes because it'll just blast you out of the, you know, the park. But most of the time, you can work around its poor factors. So for me, I think it's fine. Like, it's good where it is. It's okay. You know, it's not overpowered or anything like that. I saw a few in matchmaking when I was playing 9-0, and it wasn't very fun facing them. But that was mainly because I was using the VCC 8060, so even if I penned them, I didn't really do any damage. But that's just a problem with the vehicle. When I used the OF40, it was very easy to deal with them. But no, I think it's fine. Like it's a fun vehicle. I wish it was in the tech tree instead of an event vehicle, but it's fine. Like it's okay. UI stuff with like old events, yeah, sure. Like I don't know how much they want to give people the opportunity to customize these things, but I'd be fine with them customizing it whatever way that they want, right? Like I don't generally think people should be limited on that front. I think they should be able to kind of do what they want and have a bit of fun. So that to me is the most important part of doing stuff like that, is giving people the opportunity to make the game look like how they want it. In War Thunder they kind of do that, right? Like, but they don't do it massively. Like they don't do it in a huge way. So yeah, is the S81 good? It has a nice bomb load, but it's pretty bad in every other way. So in air realistic, it has a very high air spawn, so it's very hard to actually get attacked in. But the bomb load is quite nice to deal with, like quite large targets. In ground, it's not great. Hey Zero, nice to see you. Happy Friday. Hopefully you're doing good. Oh, by the way, just for the guys on stream, we're going to be doing War Thunder for most of the day. Obviously, getting the pages of history done, then doing the MiG-23M, finish the spading on that, and then we'll have a look at other things. And then we're going to be playing Battle Block Theatre with Freeman tonight, so should be nice. And we have skill-issued Kato. It's cool that France has an okay lineup of SPAA. The only one that I think would beat the R3 is the TPK Jeep. Less speed, but more horses and firepower. Yeah, the R3 is still really good. You know, it's just kind of nice how pretty much all nations have got themselves some kind of like R3 clone in a way. They're not all obviously the same, like you got this guy, right? But the Soviets, but overall I'd say it's a positive thing. Like, but the simple thing about it is it's nice when, you know, vehicles get put in and they actually have a use. One of the things I'm hoping for the next update, which we'll also go through over the weekend, is I hope they add some kind of mid-tier American AA, you know, just to kind of fill that gap. It's been a long time coming, and everybody else has got that gap filled. Time to fill the hole in the US, you know, and have a bit of fun with it. I think the big limit with the R3 is its elevation, if I remember correctly. Doesn't the R3 have quite poor elevation compared to a bunch of other AAs? So what you can do is you can kind of sit and you can just kind of go above it and come right down on it, like from a 90. But yeah, obviously, it's the R3 is still very powerful at the AA job. I'm glad they decided not to give stuff like that scouting. It would be kind of crazy. But yeah, we'll have to see. Hey MJ, nice to see you. I'm doing well. You trying Call of Duty Warzone 2.0? Oh, that's interesting. I haven't played Warzone. I watched it a bit. Thought it was quite fun to watch. Had a good time with it. Come on, man. Do you think he fired? I don't think he sees me. But yeah, the Warzone is quite a fun game for me to watch, just because it's one of those that I'm not really good at, but you know I like seeing. Oh my god! Ooh. There we go. Took a few too many shots there. And we have MJ. Hey Tech, how was your week? Pretty good. A lot of upgrades and a lot of testing and trying to get things sorted this week, like when it came to the stream stuff and all that stuff. Yeah, overall very positive. Like I can't be mad. You know, the event just started, the Jaguar IS event. We played the MiG-23M yesterday. not exactly the best. But, you know, the vehicle itself is good. It just has some factors which, you know, make me want to shoot myself. But we'll talk about it in a video. Funnily enough, the video about the MiG-23M might actually come out before this on YouTube. So, kind of weird how timings work, right? All over the place. How come the Leopard 2PL is the only Leopard in the game that uses the M43? Doesn't the 2A5 have it? Or they were gonna give it to the 2A5. The reason why is because they couldn't balance the damn thing, because it was a squadron vehicle, and the problem with balancing on statistics is usually depending on how many people have access to a vehicle and where they get access to it can very much change how people play it and also how people experience it. So, for example, what was happening with stuff like the Leopard 2PL, because, as I said, it's a squadron vehicle, people who experienced it wouldn't always have like full-on lineups, and this meant that they weren't doing as well as people who had stuff like 2A5s and 2A6s. So, for the longest time, the 2PL, even though it's basically equivalent to, you know, whether it was a 2A5 or a 2A6, they kept trying to push down its BR because it was just crap compared to the others, not because of the actual vehicle stats itself, but because of the people who were literally playing it. So even though balancing by player statistics is a good idea and works in the vast amount of cases, there are some edge cases, especially if you give people a direct access to be able to just grind, or not even grind, but just buy a vehicle at the highest echelon of the game. Turns out having people just play high tier stuff with absolutely no experience in anything is not exactly a great idea and can lead to some issues. And that one, it was one of those issues, right? Like, so they kept trying to move down its BR. They had to nerf the 2A5 and 2A6. Like they increased their reload because they were so oppressive. Update New Power, like when that came out and the Leopard 2A5 came out, or the 2A6 came out, I think it was. Probably the 2A6. It just crushed the game. Like for a solid like year. It took like a year for anybody to get stuff which was comparable to it. But yeah, everybody seems to forget that time. It wasn't that long ago. So yeah, the PL was added. It had like Gen 2 thermals, and it had a very good round, and also great survivability. But the people who were using it, like, let's just say, were dropped many, many times as a kid. So it just meant that you had these massive imbalances to statistics. So yeah, kind of sucks, right? And that was something that was happening a lot. And hopefully, you know, going forward, it won't be too much of an issue. Oh, damn. All right, we're good. We're fine. So yeah, that's pretty much why. That's why all those different things have kind of weird limits to them, or weird rounds. It's to try and make it so, you know, they're slightly better or slightly worse than their competition because of their performance statistics. And we have a way with you, Varbeggar. Hey Tech, hi. With the entire discussion about the new events cooling off, I wanted to propose something. One of the friends that came from World of Tanks said that the event is grindy, so I told him that the current events give you a high tier vehicle, so it makes sense. But that got me thinking, would Gaijin add lower tier vehicles at a reduced cost, so to speak? The explanation, if you see that people get burnt out fast with the current events, I believe it'd be better if they added, let's say, a tier 3 vehicle for 20k. Like this, they could have a process where you start a season by grinding a tier 3, then next event as a tier 4, but they'd raise the points required by 5k until you get the current 40k for a tier 7. The numbers aren't set in stone, since this is a somewhat spontaneous idea, but a system like this could allow players to cool off after the big grind and then warm up for the next big grind. Would also gain 3 seasons to grind through, ground, air and naval, and those could have specific themes and rewards. Anyways, I'll expand on the idea on the next Tech Talk if needed, but you get the gist of it. Hope you all have a great week. You too. Yeah, so that's what they're kind of doing. is probably the best way of putting it. Not as extreme, though. So the idea is, in the event cycle, you have, a cycle of different vehicle events, and the range of the mission scores for these events will be 35k to 45k, right? So the lower end ones will be 35k, the higher end ones will be 45k. That's the idea. Whether it actually happens, since we've had two 45ks in a row now, we'll have to see. I just bombed that guy, sad. But yeah, that's something that they are doing, Oh. Now, we haven't seen that yet, but that's what they said in the event cycle. They also said that different events would be different distances. So, different schedules. So, certain events would have a longer period of time, and other events would have a shorter period of time. And this all sounds good, right? Like this all is pretty positive and works really well. But once again, the two events that they've started with are two, biggest grind, longest events. So I feel like it's given a false perspective of what they're going to be doing going forward. And I think, once again, like each event is going to have, or each event is going to have like a setup where, it's just for a specific vehicle, and it's probably going to go ground, air, naval, and then like switch around. And it's just going to be the vehicles they were going to do in the standard events, and they're just going to move them in different areas. So yeah, they're kind of doing what you're already proposing. Not as extreme though, and I actually do agree. I would like it to be a bit more extreme. I think it would be fun if, let's say, you had like a rank 2 premium or a rank 1 premium, and it was available for people who, were able to play the game from rank 1. So you could actually add in people who, instead of just people who have just higher tier stuff, you could actually have a bunch of people from different BRs which could get access to these things. And also, of course, at, a lower BR. So yeah, I mean that's something that I would like to see, and hopefully they do, stuff like that. It should be good. Hey, Banan Vol, nice to see you. Is the LVTA4 the one with the 75mm rare? Well, for the Americans, I think so. This one, yeah, the Chode one, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's rare. It doesn't say where it's from though. Does anybody remember what event the LVTA4 is from? It might be from a battle pass or something. I don't think it's just a standard premium. Ooh. Yeah, who knows? It's kind of all over the place. You just take point events? They can be kind of annoying, but I mean, the thing that just annoys me is that every event's the same now, but you kind of get used to it. It was a birthday? Yeah, probably was a birthday. That's true. So we have the only Len. Greetings, the wise man TEC. Uh-oh. If you're not so in your not so infinite wisdom, hear the soul's thoughts. A few weeks have gone by since the French BR changes. 2 certain Frenchies got moved up. Didn't affect me because I bring them with the AMX 3880 before the change. I mean, fair enough. Then my combined total games in it are 1.3k, so 1,300 games. So I've gotten to know these puppies well. Briefly explaining both: great mobility plus 4-second reload plus APHE. 3 factors that pushed it to C90, which still decently works even at up tiers. Now on to my main point. I categorize these two with the autocannon and the BR just because their playstyles in theory are just on par. Think well, flank hard, side shots for kills, and disabling for frontal engagements. 4-second window for opportunity and error for the Frenchies, and virtually none for IFVs and SPAAs that WoW is stabilized and have ATGMs. Anything with no delay in firing is just ridiculous. You are at the mercy of RNG and are getting disabled in a blink or two. Yeah, I agree. But the Frenchies are balanced by the fact they aren't stabilized and have low pen. The Frenchies don't have low penetration. Let's just go this way. Not saying that they should be put back in the BR, but they're flawed to an extent that they're not OP. just strong, it's not a no-brainer. Play it and do well, like some Ruskies, maybe, probably. Yeah, the playing those vehicles is super fun, right? Like, the French ones are great. Honorable mentions goes to the Rackets and Automots. Wait, is to play the bill. Not saying they should be put back to the BR, but they're flawed to an extent that they're not OP, just strong. It's not a no-brainer. Oh no, I already read that. It's like playing just a minigun. Oh, you didn't disable me properly. Have the whole fireworks warehouse every time. Sorry for the long one, but the concept of non-stop firing guns just makes me wonder a little. As always, thanks for the vids. Anytime, and thank you for watching. So yeah, I think a lot of IFVs are massively under BR'd. I have done for the longest time. Like stuff like the Bradley, the Warrior, you know, things like that. They're crazy low in BR compared to where they should be. Like it's not even funny how low that they are. They should be much higher in BR. Like especially, I know people clown on the Warrior and stuff like that, but people forget how strong like just scouting is. Like knowing where the enemy team is and like knowing what you're fighting against and knowing where it is for your team is so useful. And also having crazy thermals and some pretty cool AT gems, like it's a no. Once again, as you said, it's like a no-brainer for these types of vehicles. They're really, really strong. And I wish that in general, a lot of these vehicles were put up in BR. The French ones also needed to go up in BR though. Like let's not be quiet about this, right? Both of them are good. Like but both sets of vehicles there, very powerful in how they're played. And they're generally really fun to play. And also just, you know, everybody always has a good time in them, right? Like they're not negative vehicles. They don't feel bad or anything like that. So yeah, I would honestly say, like, the vehicles themselves needed to go up, but also a lot of those IFEs also need to go up, right? Like that's my general thoughts on it and how like all that works. So yeah, there's a reason why you have like so many games in those vehicles, and it's not because they're average, you know. Like they're really fun to play. And those IFEs are really fun to play, and a lot of them should go up. You know, it was really funny when, like, put it like this, once again, simple thought. The M113A1 TOW is the same BR as an M3 Bradley. Has been forever. Like, the difference is insane, right? Bradley, stabilized chain gun, 280 gems to fire, thermals, you know, better mobility, and also better survivability. I think it has smoke grenades and can scout. M113A1 TOW literally has a TOW. That's it. It has a 50 cal. That's it. It's a box. Can't defend itself like from air really. Can't really do anything. So yeah, it's crazy those like areas. And I thought when they were talking about back in the day that they were going to like change it where vehicles would make more sense at their BRs. That's what they were going to target. And the first set of BR changes, they did do that. Like they put up all the IFEs, everything looked really cool. And then afterwards, they just put up all the boxes too. And I was like, oh, we're not learning then. I get it. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not crying. You're crying. Like it's, yeah. So two things can be true at once, right? Two things can be good at once. And those things played correctly are very good and work very well. What the hell is going on with this guy? Oh my god. Like, I don't... I just randomly set on fire. What? Okay. That guy's ping was just all over the place. But yeah, so... Yeah, simple as. Like, both things should happen, right? Right. I don't really have enough fuel for this. who knows? There we go. Then we have Kenneth Workman. It's a fun game, that's why we play. Yeah, pretty much. If War Thunder wasn't fun, people wouldn't touch it. I was watching a video the other day that was talking about kind of like the dead game fallacy. So back in the day, one of the things that used to happen a lot, which was so stupid and never made any sense in War Thunder. Thank God the vast majority of people like who played War Thunder just didn't get involved in like social media stuff or anything like that and just played the game. Because otherwise there was a real chance that, the game would have just given up. So basically what would happen, right? Basically what would happen is like there would just be people going around going, nobody's playing this game, it's crap, it's dead, blah blah blah. There's so many bugs, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of it was actually like actual like full on campaigns from people to to try and get the game kind of shut down and things like that. For various different reasons, whether they were paid off by different countries, companies allegedly, blah 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 blah. Like maybe one day we'll go into that. Or once again, all you gotta do, just look at Metacritic and read some of the hilarious reviews on it about War Thunder. Just go do it. They've never been scrubbed, and they're all from that time period. Just remember, the story in War Thunder is boring. But yeah, just go to Metacritic, go read some things, have a bit of fun. Now the thing was, like, a lot of the narratives were like, no one's playing this, and it's gonna die, it's gonna die, everything's falling apart, yada yada, all that crap. Even from, like, a lot of, like, CCs and stuff, it was just the same. It was the same things over and over and over again. Dead, blah, blah, boom, boom. Like, really negative. You still see it today, but it's not as bad, right? And there was a real chance where, like, it could have sank or swam, right? And that it's because of the fact that you have like this kind of fallacy in games where if everybody says nobody plays the game, then you don't get any new players in, right? And then the people who played the game previously also get told that the game's dead, so they stop playing. So you could actually have a game which could have a decent player base, but it doesn't have a decent player base because of the fact that the narrative about it is nobody plays it. Even though there was a bunch of people who played it, but they all for some reason believe that nobody played it. So like it's one of those weird kind of mental tricks that happens sometimes. It's like with products, right? Like, nobody uses this. But then there's actually a metric ton of people who use it. But for some reason the narrative of people using it is or the narrative is nobody uses it, even though it's one of those things that's used a lot. It's so confusing. And it's because, as we've said many times, like what people say and what actually is happening are two incredibly different things. And this isn't just a gaming thing, this is just an everything thing. Narratives are just that, narratives. Like they don't mean anything. And the only reason why they ever become popular is because of the standard stuff. Because people actually start believing them, even though they've never been true ever. And that's what becomes very, very sad. When you have something which a bunch of people just start believing certain things about, even though those beliefs are just completely wrong. Like, it sucks. It really does. And hopefully, hopefully not a ton of products have died like that. And, or not many going forward. Yeah, the Metacritic reviews are hilarious for War Thunder, because it is very obvious what has happened. But, we're not allowed to talk about it, so... But yeah, if you ever... Just have a look at the Metacritic reviews, right? And just go and have a look, and then go on the profiles and see what people have gone for in the past, and see what they've reviewed, and you see a very obvious trend. That's all I'll say. Like, somebody really wasn't covering up... somebody really wasn't covering up all this stuff. Yeah, I'll have to find the video, and then I'll leave it in the link. I'll leave it in the thing for this. I'll leave it in the description for this video. So then we have the House of Schmidt. What is with the low sat? Am I bad, or is it the worst tank in War Thunder? I swear my telephone pole goes right through most enemies and does minimum damage. I've also been killed by the discarded sabot of an enemy APF SDS shell, and the enemy wasn't even firing at me. Yeah, the low sat's not very good. Oh, did you find it, Teddy? Nice. Yeah, the low sat's not very good. It hasn't been very good for a long time. And, you know, people always just straight up once again lied about it. Saying, oh look, it pens a lot, and look at the missile, it goes crazy, woo woo woo. But no, it's not. It's a vehicle which is incredibly limited in its usability, and overall just doesn't feel very good. And as something that has been true in War Thunder since pretty much day one, penetration is a double-edged sword. If you have too much penetration, then your round doesn't give enough of kind of a blast cone off after penetrating, and therefore you don't do enough damage, therefore you don't have anything that, you know, does damage behind it, right? Happy Friday, Mr. Coron, nice to see you. Sweet dreams, Dark Lord, have a nice rest, man. But yeah, in a lot of situations, you can overpen things and you do no damage to them. So this used to happen with a lot of light tanks and still does, with like things like APF SDS. Happened a lot when I was playing the VCC 8060. People would pen my turret, and because they had a lot of pen, and because I didn't have a lot of armor, the round would just go straight through and only hit one of my guys in my turret instead of both of them, right? This is like a common thing that happens a lot with these types of things. So with penetration, if you have too much of it, it just goes straight through. And yeah, the issue with the low sat is it has a lot of penetration, and also you have to sit still to use it, and also at the same time, you know, you have a lot of vehicles that you'll just go straight through and not really do anything against. And it's a pain, like, to do. It's an absolute pain, but it happens with a lot of stuff. And, you know, it happened with a ton of vehicles that I've played over the years, and it was insane to me how many people were hyping up the low sat when it first came out. Literally just hyping it up on the belief of, oh, look, once again, look at the missile. Same with the 292, right? 292 is way better than the low sat, like, just as a general vehicle, because it has better secondary factors. Doesn't matter how good a singular primary factor is, depends how good all the other factors are too. So then we have Luigi. So yeah, if you're not doing well in it, like, don't be mad or anything. Like, it's, you know, it's not great. But we have Luigi Pignatail. I think that's what that says. I'm doing well, yeah. Hopefully you're doing well too. My question is, are you going to play Tank Factory Tycoon again, or are you going to wait for more updates? I am going to play it. The issue I have is time. I committed to doing the War Thunder event, and also one of the things I will say is over the last period of time, my personal life has been a little bit hectic, and let's go through like why that is. So number one, my work schedule changed. I still have my same job, but the projects that I'm working on, because it's with different people in the world, there are certain times which fit them better than the previous times. So the idea is now that I'm on a different work schedule, it now fits everybody a lot better. So that means that that was kind of like shifting during the last week. There's also a few family things that needed to get sorted out too, kind of like certain schedules, regimes, you know, when people did stuff, or when we were going to like help out with things and, you know, do all that stuff. Now that, you know, good old the pandemic's over, or at least depends on who you chat to. Some people are still kind of crazy about that stuff, but yeah, a lot of people want to do more stuff, right? So that means a lot more events, a lot more things to be planned, and a lot more stuff to go around. So that's been going on in the background. But now, after the last week or two, everything should now be sorted. So that means I will now have more time to play other things. So next week we're gonna be doing, obviously War Thunder. We're gonna be doing, I think, Crusader King. No, not Crusader Kings. Castle Crashers, Battle Block Theater, and then also Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks, and probably we're going to do a Iron Harvest World War map, like, kind of playthrough. So that's the idea of everything going on, and it should be really fun. So now we're gonna go back to like kind of that. I'll also be starting the streams earlier and doing more stuff on streams, meaning that a lot of like the YouTube stuff will be done on streams too, just so we can extend the streaming hours, get more people's opinions about things while we're doing them, and also just kind of have fun, you know. Like I really enjoy making content. It's super fun, and I've had a really good time over like the last, you know, few years making the content stuff and just chatting to a bunch of different people and having a really good time with it, and I just want to continue to do that. Like, you know, I don't... How does that not destroy the engine? I don't want to, like... I don't want in any way to limit any of this stuff, and one of the ways I've found... Oh my god. One of the ways I've found, obviously, not to limit the stuff is to try and do more things on top of each other. Which I know sounds a little bit odd, but as I get more efficient, as, you know, the computers get more efficient, as all this stuff gets more efficient, it can be done. So that's what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, that's pretty much why you haven't seen that stuff. I think what I'm going to do with Arms Trade Tycoon, though, is I'm going to make it, like, larger pieces. So instead of, like, 30 minutes, I'll probably do an hour, 2 hours. And the basic reason for that is just because... The basic reason for that is straight up just because the game, I think, works better in larger pieces. And, you know, we're not in... I don't want, like, it to take ages to, like, do a whole, like, playthrough, since there's going to be, like, 20 years now on the whole thing. While scrolling through the suggestions forum, I saw some vehicles that are just cars, not even armored, with a dude holding a rocket launcher, and another vehicle which is a French Vespa with a cannon attached to it. What's your opinion on these peculiar vehicles in game? I find them funny, but not very practical. I mean, they could be completely busted, depending on where they get put in the game, or they could be kind of useless. As long as they give them the scouting mechanic, it'll be fine. Like, I don't mind vehicles which have pretty much no survivability, but, you know, a decent amount of firepower, because it would generally be okay. The only issue is, it's still very obvious that there are some of the guys at Gaijin who believe in this idea of, like, the historical feel of War Thunder. You know what I mean? Like the, oh well, we need things to rock together. Like you can't have like this vehicle which looks modern around, like, you know, World War II vehicles. Like there are still some of those guys who are still in there and still believe in that stuff. And so a lot of those like types of vehicles, right, would be at the lower tier because of their survivability. So I feel like what is going to have to happen at some point is someone's just going to have to bite the bullet and put a bunch of stuff like that in. So, you know, whether it's like a truck, a Willys Jeep with a bazooka on it, or whether it's, you know, anything like that. I mean, I'd be completely fine with all that stuff. I find vehicles like that super fun. And also, at the same time, they're really engaging, right? Because you have... When you don't have any survivability, trying to survive and also trying to do damage is quite a fun little mix. As long as it isn't... It's basically... As long as the way that you do damage isn't super limited, like stuff like the Type 60M for ATM, for example, is really limited. But as long as it's just like kind of standard, then it's fine. Like it works really well. So I think that's at least what I would focus on. I don't see a reason why not to add them. Like, as I said, the only reason is this whole belief in the historical matchmaking thing, and whoa, didn't even see the shot. But yeah, why not? Chuck them in. Then we have Linen again. Second short comment on this vid, going through the Chinese line at the moment. Check out and compare the US and Chinese M60 A3 TTS. I'm baffled. What do you mean? I mean, we can have a look, but I don't think there's any difference between them, is there? Like, they should pretty much be the same. Unless they have, like, different rounds or something. I mean, we can have a look, like, in a bit, so we'll come back to that one. Then we have Type 10. Hey, TEC. I'm debating to grind helicopters, not sure if it's worth. If you're doing Japanese ones, good luck. That first one in Japan is awful, so you'll have a tough time getting through that. Not too fun. And then you got 8 kills with the Chinese M48, almost a nuke, but died. And unfortunately, my team, being goofballs, they all died. I was good in the event, and then some stuff in my life happened. Now it's messed me up. Can't wait to unlock the TOE M13 and be disappointed. That's all. Have a nice day. I mean, fair enough. You know, we can't always get everything working the way that we want it to work, but the main thing is just to not let it get you down too bad. As somebody who's ran through a lot of travesties over the last decade or so, you know, I don't believe that you come out stronger on the other end, but you can definitely deal with them. Ooh. Right. So we have Alex Wells. Greetings from Germany. How am I today? I'm doing good. Can't be mad. Page the history nearly done. And also, obviously, the Sword of Justice event going. Which I kind of like the fact that with the Sword of Justice, they added in the free modifications. I wonder how successful that's going to be, or how interested people are going to be with doing that one. But I think it's a good idea, personally. I'm a fan. And then, obviously, first Deadblock came out. You know, big, 2 big premiums. The STRV 121 and the other one, which I can't remember the name of. The Centauro, which should be interesting. So yeah, not too bad. I want to say something about top-down mechanics for artillery, and I think it's a terrible idea if you'd implement it like a mod of tanks, but for example. But, here we go. I think you could do it like, for example, with the RBT-5, where you have a second target site for the rockets that you can switch to. So it would be like for direct fire and one for indirect fire. I think it would be the only realistic option. How do you see it? I mean, sure, if it existed in real life, like that's the thing, right? Is there, in real life, did it have a target? Did it have an optic on it that did that? Because they started adding in the optics for the 80 gems, right? So that's something that got done. I'm guessing that's probably something that would work. Maybe that's what they're working on. You could always bring in custom sites for stuff like that. But yeah, I think in general that wouldn't be a bad idea. Like, why not? Might as well get them in and get them sorted. Should be something that wouldn't be too bad. Like, as long as you have direct line of sight, it wouldn't be too much of an issue. It's basically the same as like the Avery site, right? Where it just feels like it's super zoomed in, but it ain't. Yeah, something like that could work quite easily. Wouldn't be too annoyed at that. So then we have Captain Stern. Thank you for the video. Germany truly suffers. Oh yeah, definitely. Did you see in the competitive stuff, by the way? Like the stuff on the weekends, everybody's using Leopards. Crazy, right? Must be really bad vehicles. Then we have Forward Animatics. TEC, with your opinion on sim battles and saying they're a waste of resources, I formally disavow you and the boat you came in on. Oh, okay. How dare you, sir? No, but really, I'd like to know more on your thoughts on with why. Simply pair population in comparison to arcade and RB, for example. Or would you have a greater nuanced reason? Anyway, as an avid sim player, it's hard to imagine going back to RB or arcade if sim were to be removed. Obviously, this is your opinion and not guidance. Have you ever tried it? Yes. Do you ever consider getting peripherals like a joystick, etc.? I already have one. What was it that disappointed you about it? Assuming you didn't like your experience. The experience was fine. Etc. etc. Thanks for your response. Okay. I've done like vision stuff with it, with the goggles, you know. Good old Oculus Rift back in the day. I have a joystick, I have a HOTAS. I used to use a joystick even in RB, like back in the day. Like I have done all the things that people talk about, like when it comes to sim and having an immersive experience. The issue I have with sim is not the game mode itself. The game mode is fine. The issue with simulator is the people who populate it. This has been the issue with simulator for the longest time, because the way that the game mode is set up is it's set up for people to abuse it, right? Which is why I've always been against it when it comes to events. When I say that they should stop developing sim, what I mean by that is that it's in a good state right now, and they should stop screwing with it by adding more stuff to it or adding more things around it. Not that they should just kill the game mode. They should just leave it as a stagnant force, what it is right now. The major problem I have with simulator, as I said, is because of the fact that people use it to either abuse mechanics through botting or abuse mechanics by being able to queue snipe together, just like people used to do in old events or even World War mode or World War II Chronicles. All of the things that were bad about those things are bad in Simulator 2. It means that you have a wonderful concoction of crap. And whenever you talk about it, you get a bunch of defensive people going, whoa, 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 it's not that bad. And then when you point it out, they just go after you and just say, well, no, because I don't do it. And then you go onto the streams of the people or you go into the Discords and you see that they just sit there and they all queue snipe each other as if like that's just an okay thing to do. And then at the same time, with people just constantly going on about how simulator should be part of events, should be part of dailies, should be part of specials, all that stuff. One of the big reasons why War Thunder had such a big botting issue over the years is because of simulator. You know, one of the reasons why you can't actually pick the SEA server as well anymore? Did you notice that when it came to like picking server regions? You can't pick the SEA one. It's because it was so underpopulated. What people would do is they would sit in Discords or sit on, you know, voice and all queue up at the same time, so you all got into the same game, so you could manipulate the matches. This is what happens in Simulator every single day of the week. And I'm supposed to take it seriously as a proper game mode, as a proper place to look at, and to take seriously. And I just don't. Like, it's very hard for me to take it seriously because of that fact. So yeah, it's not something that I ever really put any thought into, because of the fact that it's really abusable, and also people abuse it all the time, right? And you'll see it during this event, you'll see it during the last event, and you'll see it just wandering around the place. I don't also think there's a lot of skill to Simulator. The skill in Simulator is buying the right technology to be good at Simulator, which sucks, right? And also I think that there are better products around the place which simulate stuff a lot better. That's pretty much it. The reason why War Thunder is so successful is because they were able to mix the idea of arcade gameplay and simulator gameplay into with mouse aiming to make kind of, you know, to make military games a little bit more accessible for people. As somebody who played a lot of the old Sims back in the day and played a lot of, you know, things like that back in the day, it amazes me that that still sits there as kind of like a stalwart of what the past used to be like. There's people doing something like that on console right now by turning off crossplay. Yeah, I mean, technically, but I think there's enough console players for it to not be an issue. The problem with Simulator is you can pick your own servers. Like, I can show you if you want after this battle. I can show you the exact thing I don't like about Simulator. The ground simulator stuff is generally fine. The major issue with ground sim is the balance, but, you know, as usual in that setup, that's something that really is, it's the easiest thing to fix, technically, but still can be seen as one of the hardest ones for some reason. But when we're in a battle, I can't show you it, unfortunately. But if they removed all of the ways, like in Sim, that you can actually, you know, basically just queue up at the same time and go to areas in the same time, then I'd be completely fine with it. But every time I talk about stuff like that, simulator players get annoyed at me. So, I don't know. Like, if you have a look here, you go to Air Simulator Battles, right? Here, look, you can just create your own sessions. Look at all of these going on right now. I don't even know why these are not like available. Oh, it's because it's been in progress for a long time. So what you can do is you can sit there and you can create a session, right? With one player on each side, or just one player at all, and then you can just go into it. Look, take part for Team A. I can just go in straight away if I want to. And you can set up your own rooms to do this. And people use this consistently to literally just bot and break the game. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how many of these rooms exist during events and how many exist not during events. Like, this whole side is like just like controller players. Like, what is that? And yeah, so a lot of the times when I've looked into botting and a lot of the times when I've looked into cheating, the vast majority of it has been happening in simulator. And whenever I bring it up, I just get told it's fine, and they just need to ban the cheaters. So, because that's just easy to do, right? Just ban everybody with no false positives either. So in a certain situation, Wargaming moved away from RU version of World of Tanks, so they added 2 more servers and let people that played an RU server to move over before selling the RU version of the game to a local development company. Now these 2 servers are used to abuse ranked ladder gameplay when the season's on, because there are less players, so it's super easy to rig and queue snipe at night. Yeah. Which is why it's super important to have a consistent thing. Like here, you can see here, right? It's probably the reason why they removed the Australian servers for World of Tanks as well. Like here, so this is the Russian server, right? This is the EU server, and this is the NA server. You can't pick the SEA server anymore. Even if you're in that region, like you can't pick it. And it's because it had such a low population, people abused it. Same stuff happens every day in simulator. Like, here. Let's have this. Okay, let's have, instead of this, right, with all this, right, where you can just abuse it, okay? Instead, just make air sim like ground, where you have defined lineups to play, like it used to be. Yeah. Easy. Because you got everything else now. You know, you got the dailies, you got the specials, you got all that. You can do events now. People can massively abuse the systems in events. I bet you any money when it comes to this coupon stuff, there'll be a dude who will have done this coupon in 2 or 3 days, and he'll just have been doing it in sim. Nothing else. High tier sim. Because it's ×3, man. So yeah. It's nuts. The TTSs, that was the other thing, right? So you have like the M60A3 TTS here. It's got the M735 thermals laser rangefinder. Isn't this like the same as the American one? I don't think there's any difference, right? Oh, they have different rounds. The American one is the M774. The Chinese one has just the M735. What? Did they just forget to give the Chinese one the round? Well, that sucks. Another stream earlier today, I got 75% of the coupon done in 1 hour. Yeah, probably. If you play high tier jet stuff, like you can get it done super quick. So the American M683 is just, the TTS is just better than the Chinese one. That's crazy. Didn't realize that. How odd. Alright. See what we can do here. But yeah, so that's pretty much it with Sim. And as always, like people always say stuff like, "Oh, well, you just haven't played it enough." Nah, I played it a lot, and I've also played a bunch of other games that are similar to it. And once again, like I sit and I'm part of these communities, and I like just watch what happens, you know. Reload? What do you mean? Or reload the game? Is there an issue with it? Like, that's the thing at the end of the day, right? Like, oh, the reload is different. What, so the Chinese one has a better reload? I'll have a look after this match. But yeah, so you know, I have a flight stick, I have a HOTAS, I have a setup for it. I even have mates who do a lot of the sim stuff. And if they got rid of all the abuses, I'd be fine with it. But every time we talk about the abuses, there's a bunch of people who just talk about like how it isn't an issue, or they just shut up and then just ask why I don't like it. Because I don't like people abusing game mechanics. Because the more people abuse game mechanics, the harder it is for everybody else to be able to do everything. Because if you have a scale where there's a metric ton of people who are getting stuff done super quickly, then Gaijin look at those stats and go, wonder why that's happening. And if they can't figure out why, apart from people are just abusing certain ways of playing the game, then they lower those ways of playing the game. But then they also screw over a bunch of other stuff at the same time. Same, you know how we were talking about before about the invite a friend thing? Same thing. When we were talking about like, the simulator stuff, same thing. What happens is they look at those stats and go, people are getting stuff too quickly, or this is working too well, we're going to hammer them across the board. It happens over and over and over and over and over again, man. And it sucks. Like, it really does. Like, I wish it wasn't the case, but there's just a history of 10 years of this stuff happening. So I'd rather we limit the abuses and then kind of go from there. Can't mess with Gaijin. Gaijin messes you. I mean, pretty much, yeah. Like, I don't know. There's a reason why they like massively reduce the amount of like score and stuff like that you get from like strike aircraft and like doing like kind of PvE stuff, and it's because of things like sim and also abuses and like realistic and arcade just in their opinion doing stuff too quickly, and that is crap, and systems that feed into that idea suck. And we're gonna see, like, for the longest time, the reason why a lot of events weren't available in Sim is because of these reasons. So now what we're gonna see is why these events aren't available in Sim. It's gonna be an absolute mess. So then we had Mr. Snack. I actually had an interesting discussion in game with someone about Canada becoming a subtree for France. Uh-oh. Now, I've done no research, so I don't know how feasible that is. I mean, they're doing it based on political/nationalistic lines, so it sounds like a cool idea. Well, right. Part of Canada is French. It's called Montreal, or specifically Quebec, right? They think they're French because of historical ties. They have all of the wonderful rules that France has about trying to keep their language like pure and also getting people to use it, and a bunch of other just ridiculous rules about preserving their culture, which pretty much everybody else in Canada gets annoyed at. The fact that everything in Canada, half of the stuff on a label is in French and half of it is in English, even though a very small amount of people actually speak French anywhere outside of Quebec, is really annoying. But yeah. Also, if Israel were to be moved to the American tree, how would that work out for people who have grounded the tree? Will those people keep the tree separately, or will the vehicle stay in America's tech line, kind of like how they did with Italy and Germany? Yeah, pretty much the second option, right? Like that. But once again, we're talking about decisions which should have been made like before the tree came out. So when I talk about the idea of Israel to the what's the word? Adding Israel to the American tree, it's actually before Israel was an independent tree. So nowadays it can't happen. Like it's just not something that can sort itself out. It's not something that can be done. So it's more of just like a hypothetical of what should have happened, not what did happen, right? Yeah, French Canadians are cool, man. Canadians in general are pretty fun, you know. As if you speak both the languages, then you're good. The Quebecois is not exactly the same as French though. It's definitely a dialect of French. Like for me, I learnt like French, and yeah, there is a few differences, but it's basically the same, right? But yeah, like Canada is a nice place. There's a lot of really cool people in it. You know, it is a place which, you know, has its issues just like everywhere else, but it's really not like a bad place. And Quebec and Montreal and places like that, you know, there's obviously animosity, but it's from a government level, not from a person level. And I don't know, I'm getting real bored nowadays of all these culture clashes, man, about what I see as incredibly insignificant things. But that's, you know, that's a personal thing, not not a not an overall thing. Then we have Jay, who says, "Careful, bro." Why? What did I say? The Daily Show? What is this? Paramount Plus. An election set to divide us. Oh, I don't care. I would throw the whole of the Middle East into Israel. Oh yeah. I mean, I would, like, honestly. Like just call it like, I don't know, the Middle East tech tree or whatever, or just call it the Israel tech tree. Like, who cares? It's the main thing, at least the way I see it, is to get more and more stuff into the game for people, right? And so people can have a lot of fun and have a lot of good time with it. It isn't. I don't. I really like. You can't have these two things to exist, right? It's like, so Gaijin has said they're an apolitical company, which they are, right? Apart from when they're not, just like every other apolitical company. But they're supposed to be, right? The important thing, or should be an important thing about an apolitical company, is you do not regard politics at all for any of your decisions. So no matter what the situation is politically, you should just disregard it. Does this happen? No. Of course it doesn't. That's why they bring out statements about, you know, the invasion of Ukraine, saying that, you know, obviously they're not happy with the situation and they believe war should only be in video games, while also at the same time saying that they're apolitical, right? Like stuff like that. They've done it for a long time, and it's just standard like PR stuff. At the end of the day, what matters to them is money and making it, right? And that's just, well, welcome to the real world, everybody. So yeah, always fun. So when it comes to stuff like, you know, Israel, that's literally what I would do. I would just, instead of doing these country tech trees, I'd just do regional tech trees. And, you know, say la vie, so be it. And if people are, you know, sick and tired of seeing the same vehicles over and over again, well, welcome to me in 2016, where I saw all of this stuff happening, where there was a bunch of duplicate vehicles. I talked about how this would be bad for the game and how it won't be very fun grinding the same stuff over and over and over again, and hey presto, it isn't. But, you know, welcome to the world. Unfortunately, not everybody has a massive military industrial context, so it's just how it is. Um, You know, it's just how it goes, and just how all that stuff happens. C'est la vie. Hey, it's getting nice to see you, man. I saw your comment on the body pillow video. What a weird what a weird time to be alive, as usual. Tech, I hardly disagree with your comment on getting rid of Sim as a waste of resources. Even though I don't play Sim as I much want, I really enjoy the experience. As an online streamer that is a Canadian of European extraction, whose name eludes me at the moment, is fond of saying often choice is good. I'm paraphrasing a bit. There are a metric ton of arcade-type flight games out there, but very few scalable realism games that include a simulation mode for us folks who played flight games on dial-up modems when many of the current players were pooping their diapers. Well, yeah, as I said earlier, right? Like as you said, skip the post, but yeah, like I don't want to like remove Sim. Sometimes I get annoyed with talking about Sim because it's literally it's another one of those where it's like it's such a small percentage of things, but it takes up so much of the conversation. Right? It's like when we talk about like you remember when like mines was a thing for like 2 weeks, or like top down artillery, or you're talking about like very minor things that really don't matter in like the grand scheme of things. And the development of simulator in War Thunder, since it doesn't have a huge part of the player base playing, really isn't like a huge thing. But it's always something that gets brought up because it's always one of those areas which is a little bit more malleable. It's something which is, can be changed a bit more. You can experiment things with it, which is what they've done in the past. And I think that's super positive, right? That's the reason why we have like these larger maps in AirRB at high tier. But the idea of it being like a core tenant of the game, Sim just never has been. Because it goes against the idea of War Thunder as like a whole, and also has never taken off like a lot of the other areas have. Should they remove it? No. But also at the same time, chucking in a ton of resources into it might not be the best idea, which is what people want. But also, we saw some leaks last year. They're going to be updating it. They're going to be developing more stuff into it anyway. And if the resources are there from Gaijin's point of view, do it. Like, why not? Choice is good at the end of the day. I do see it as a waste of resources until they change the matchmaking system. Because, as always, the matchmaking system is the reason why I don't like it. The gameplay itself is fine. The overall feel of the vehicles is fine. It all feels great. The matchmaking is absolutely ridiculous, right? Compared to the rest of War Thunder. And highly abusable. So, fix that, and then there you go. It should be sorted. Should they remove it? No. If I said that in a previous video, or if I said it on stream, it was probably because I was pissed off. But no, I don't believe stuff like that should be removed. Is my mic off? No, it should be on. You guys can hear me, right? That would be kind of screwed if you can't hear me. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, I even want them to bring back a bunch of the old events and stuff. Like, I wonder when they'll do that. But yeah, it would. Yeah, if I said to remove it, it was probably out of just getting annoyed at something. I don't think they should remove it. I do think lowering the amount of effort that goes into it, though, is probably a good idea. I still want them to bring back the BR system for Sim, though. For both sets of game modes. We'll have to see what goes on. I don't think they will, though, because once again, just not enough players. Did that PlayStation VR game ever come out? You remember that one? That one seemed kind of interesting. Kind of like the PlayStation VR War Thunder game, where basically you bought it, it just gave you a bunch of vehicles, and then you kind of like played from there. I don't know if it ever actually came out. I just remember obviously looking at it last year, so that was pretty cool. If we could get something like that in that kind of setup, that'd be nice. Who knows? Anything's possible. Do. It'd be interesting to also see the teams behind stuff like Simulator and also World War Mode, because one of the things about, you know, War Thunder itself, even though it's quite an expansive game, the actual like core team that actually develops it is actually pretty tiny. So even from like a resource point of view, it might not even be a lot of resources to actually put towards that. So I don't know. We'd have to see. Who knows? So then we have Churchill Soir. Are you believing yourself in the nonsense you broadcast? Yeah, most of the time. Unless it's like a meme video. Yeah. I think it's probably a good idea to have some self-belief. Just a little bit. Not a lot, but you know, that can lead to ego and all these things. But I mean, the problem with my Dumbo is I've just been around for way too long now. So I'm like a fossil. Like, I've seen too many things when it comes to War Thunder, so nothing really surprises me, and over the years, I've seen a lot of the same stuff being said over and over and over. So it's quite easy to actually kind of, you know, chat to and go through and see all of the different things happening. So it's just kind of how it is. But yeah. You realize we can see your playlists, right? That's quite a lot of nonsense. But in my opinion, as long as he enjoys posting, there's no need to criticize. No, people should criticize. I think it's good to criticize. I don't like this idea of not having an open forum. Like, it's something that I've promoted a lot to my detriment over the years, because now, you know, there's been a lot of people just say some crazy shit about like what I've done or what I think. Just people just like openly lying about things that I've said. But that happens a lot. I still remember that time where there was just people going, yeah, I saw him in game and he said this, and people were just like, yeah, he's just an idiot, and he's so weird. Just talking about stuff that just never happened. But yeah. I like having an open decorum. I really, on open forum, sorry, I don't ever shut opinions off. That's literally why we do this series, right? Nobody gets left behind. Do we want to see this guy's playlists? I'm not sure, man. Krimi or Geschichte? Oh! Hip stretch, unlock the hidden fire. Well, there you go. My boy's into YouTube hip stretching. Brother, there's plenty of places on YouTube where you can, you know, you can find like porn, or, you know, just plenty of places on the internet. Just go do that, man. It's all good. We're all adults here. Then we have Suck Ass from Kiev. Hey Tech, I hope you're having a good time. 2 questions. Boom. Yeah, he's thirsty on main, yeah. What do you think of this time without devlogs? Like, it looks like the next update will only come out at the end of March. I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, first of all, there's usually quite a lull at the start of this year, and we've had, you know, the event cycle, we've had the past developer stuff, we've had a bunch of different things going on to try and stop the lull, which has been quite nice. So I actually have preferred this time period because there's a lot less of a lull. There's been more stuff happening with the event cycle and with, you know, a few other things going forward. So for me, I'm alright with it, you know. I think overall, I'm okay with it. Like, if it comes out at the end of March and the next update comes out, the end of June or the middle of June, that's fine. Like, I think that's okay. Usually we get the update like middle of March anyway, so, or, you know, starts in middle of March. So we're still on like timeline for everything. And now at least we've had the first devlog it's a little bit slow compared to the rest, but it's also the first update of the year. Like maybe they're changing up how they're doing everything. Maybe they've decided to try and set up everything in a different way. I mean, we'll find out, right? They've already changed the event cycle. They've changed a bunch of other stuff. So who knows? It'd be kind of cool to find out. Were you aware of the recent Femboys trend on our War Thunder memes? Like, I think a big part of it was just guys who had a day of shaving their legs, and I wear big socks to post. Right. Okay. So first of all, look at me. Right. I'm a functioning human being most of the time. Do you think I hang out looking at femboys? Let's see. War Thunder memes Reddit. So this would have been like, I'll put like top of the last week. Okay. I mean, I saw one post with like a fox girl thing. I mean, I don't really see any of them. Yeah, there's like nothing really here. There's just like, as usual, pretty bad memes about War Thunder. So, like, I don't know. There is a real issue with society at the moment, and it's the general fact that people are becoming more and more antisocial as we go along, and this is down to like a bunch of different factors that I'm not really going to go into. One of the big ones is just straight up social media, just making people more antisocial. You know, not necessarily locking people inside, but one of the other ones is just straight economic factors, just things being crazy expensive to do means that, you know, going out and doing things with people is not exactly the easiest thing to do. There's a ton of factors which are leading to this. And since people have, you know, hormones, since people have a bunch of stuff going on in their body, they still want to act and react to things that are going on. So this leads people down very, very difficult paths where they try and express themselves and don't realize what the internet actually is and what can actually be shown on it and what moves around it, and end up doing stuff like that. Also, at the same time, like now that there are so many things that are so crazy public in our societies, that generally people just don't care about what's shown or what's seen, and that's just a standard thing that's been happening for years now, and it probably won't bite people in the ass in the future. Because, you know, most people don't look into that stuff. But if you ever run into somebody who is somewhere on specific spectrums, what ends up happening is you will just get dragged through the coals. So if you're ever a public figure and you do stuff like this, you're going to have a really, really rough time. And it's not going to be very fun. So yeah, I don't really follow internet trends. I just kind of see what the news is or see what I want to talk about and go from there. But when it comes to trends like that or what's kind of going around, I mean, it's what people will be doing is taking pictures of different people and putting them with the memes. They won't actually be pictures of themselves, which is another thing that happens a lot. And yeah, what we've seen with the recent advertisements should kind of either make you sad or make you come to a realization. And the realization is that War Thunder itself has a lot of different player bases in it, and also in order to kind of, you know, have a look at all of them or react to all of them is pretty much impossible to do. And that's why whenever something happens in War Thunder, it has, you know, very, very contrasted reactions to it. I mean, just take the body pillow stuff, for example. So yeah, not really surprised, and it's just more of a kind of show of what's going on in society right now. It's going to be a really fun 5 to 10 years over the next little bit. It's very much a good luck, Godspeed. Try and support each other as we go, because it'll be fun to watch. But not necessarily to be part of. But we'll see what happens. That's, by the way, the end of the questions. So if there's anything else that you guys want to go through, you know, on stream. We're gonna be finishing off this special task probably with the M18 and the M18, just to try and chill. But yeah, it should be a busy week next week. I don't know if we'll be able to do a tech talk next week, because if they decide to do a dev server and all of these other things, who knows? It might be a bit all over the place. It might not be. But yeah, we're going to continue streaming, as always. And also, at the same time, we're going to finish this stuff off. Mind explaining why you cheated in War Thunder? With this new monitor, it feels like cheating. Like, honestly. You see so much more stuff at high resolutions. It's nuts. I feel like my eyes have just been fixed overnight. Like, it's crazy. But anyway, that's it for the tech talk. Look after yourselves. See you soon. Bye-bye.